Oh, lordy.
We've saturated the entire volume.
So we want to see 10 feet of HDMI through water. Oh crap, keep that away from the laptop. That would kill it for sure. Oh, mine's leaking now too. This million times more conductivity is not giving us million times better results. I was thinking we could do HDMI over the ocean. Oh, we're close. We're close. We just need more salt. Sticking them further in did not seem to actually generate better results. Okay, should we shorten it just a little bit more? Wait, wait! Oh, it's so close! Still no clean signal? Come on! I thought for sure a million times more conductivity. Okay, here's an idea. Oh crap, that wasn't the idea. What if we just go right into the tube? Maybe something about the reservoir. That's a lot of blinking. There we go! Hey, we got it! 1080p, 60 hertz, 5 feet, through a tube! Now for our last trick, we're gonna take it to another level. If it can pass through 100% water, plus some salt, then it should be able to pass through 60% water. Laser James? Ah! Oh, come on.
No.
Just put out your hand.
No, they're salty enough. No. I had a cut, but it's like split now.
Let's try this one on like the ring. Will that work?
There it is.
Hey, not bad.
There it is.
There it is. HDMI through humans. Yeah, let's get that thumbs up in there. Yeah!
Now kiss.
What?
Come on.
I'll bow. I'll bow. I'll shake hands. No! Oh, it's weird. Okay, so that was a lot of fun, but if you've stayed for this long, you probably deserve some kind of explanation as to legitimately why this exists. Honestly, it seems pretty niche to us too. For most long-distance HDMI applications, you would probably use HDMI over Ethernet, since Ethernet is available in all kinds of different configurations for indoor or outdoor use. It has multiple conductors, and it also has quite a significant range. But in an application like a digital signage billboard out in the middle of absolute nowhere, literally 2 miles away from the source, this could make sense. Another potential pitch is to use them as an emergency backup in the event that a cable gets severed and you absolutely have to connect the two ends together. The HL24 could be used for that as well. So niche within a niche, but definitely really cool to check out. And you know what else is cool to check out? iFixit. iFixit is leading the charge on DIY electronics repair. They've got over 25,000 free guides for taking apart, repairing, replacing batteries in your electronics, and they've also got their fantastic lineup of tools, including their ProTech Toolkit, which is now just $59.95. The ProTech Toolkit includes their 64-bit driver kit, a wide variety of prying tools and spudgers and picks, as well as ESD-safe tweezers, a suction cup for moving displays, an ESD-safe strap, and more. And the best part is it comes with a lifetime warranty. So stop paying people to repair your devices, learn to do it yourself, you'll save some money, and you might even have fun in the process. Visit ifixit.com/Linus to get your ProTech Toolkit today. We're gonna have that link below. So thanks for watching, guys. If you disliked this video, you can hit that button. But if you liked it, hit like, get subscribed, maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured. If you have an application for it, at the link in the video description. And while you're down there, you can check out our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one, and our community forum. Oh, no, we don't have shirts like this one. Maybe we should do like a float plane shirt. And our community forum, which you should totally join. Here at Linus Tech Tips, we know we are okay occasionally a little late to the party. For example, uploading videos about a new Apple product days after the initial coverage wave has come and gone. You know, it is what it is. We try. Whatever. Get off my back! But not today. No. What I'm showing you guys today is not stale at all. In fact, I don't think I'd even describe it as ripe yet. I mean, look, it doesn't even have room in the box for the power adapter. It's just separate. This is the first look at the full 4K 120 kit. But what's that? And where did it come from? Browse privately and securely with TunnelBear, the simple VPN app. Start your 7-day free trial at the link in the video description. Okay, so first things first, I gotta say I'm a little unnerved by this box because there is no friggin' way that a monitor and a stand for a monitor are fitting in here. And like, look at this. We got like a handwritten note here. Take care, made by hand. And then we've got the name of the guy, Z's, who made it. So this is Z's from Z's Works. Oh boy. Wow, what the heck? This thing is just like a completely naked panel and oh my gosh. There's just like exposed PCBs on the back. There's no stand, no plastic housing. To its credit, it does have a base amount here, but no way. There's only three mounting points here. There we go. I got it. And this is, I think I found the nut. Okay, so we've got it mounted now. We just used this random monitor arm that we found. And look at this weird stuff we got going on here. So this right here is a JTAG programmer for updating the firmware of and debugging the main chip. And this, like, taped on doodad here is actually a USB to serial adapter for debugging everything else. The monitor comes with a heap of technical documentation to help you do all of these things, and you can even reprogram the LED backlight driver if that tickles your pickle. Okay, so it's probably clear to most of you by now that the reason this thing is here in our shop is clearly nothing to do with how polished and finished it is as a product. It's because it's the first monitor to reach our lab that runs at 3840 by 2160 4K at 120 hertz. That's right, you gamers can have your cake and eat it too with high resolution and high refresh rate. But how did a small fish like Aziz pull this off before the big dogs like Asus and Acer, who showed off their high refresh rate displays at CES this year? A quick implementation of the DisplayPort 1.4 standard, and that is a negatory, General. Because check this out. We've actually got two DisplayPort inputs here. One right there, and one right there. So I guess let's start by firing it up with just one connected. There. Okay, so check this out. There's no normal on-screen display, but it does have these completely unlabeled buttons up here that, hold on a minute. Is this thing completely held on by one screw at the top? Ugh. Okay, so as I was saying, it has these unlabeled buttons that helpfully come with this handwritten user guide to tell me what they're for. So there's power. Sorry, no, power is labeled. So why don't we start with that one? We'll press it. Wow, that turns on really quickly. Okay, so the next two are for adjusting brightness. Okay, so technically there's a label there. There's a plus and a minus. So yeah, we're doing pretty well here. And then there's other ones for switching between a bunch of different EDID profiles for reported resolution and refresh rate, starting with 540p at 480 hertz. And wow, this looks pretty crap. I mean, it has like an interlaced look to it, and quite honestly, like in motion, even the TN pixels can't switch fast enough to avoid having like a purple trail behind black objects. But boy, does that ever feel butter smooth. Wow. Then the next switch is 720p at up to 300 hertz, which is still really darn smooth, and is, at least I can tell if it's a CT or a terrorist at this resolution compared to 540p. The next one is 1080p at up to 240 hertz, and I can see how this feature would be useful when you look at how quickly it switches modes. If you're the kind of person who often finds yourself dialing back the resolution to get more FPS out of games like CSGO, and then wants to turn up the resolution for sightseeing games like Civilization 6 or Skyrim, I mean, these buttons really do make switching super easy. Or maybe it's dumb. Let us know in the comments if you think you would actually use these or not. So, okay, here we are. 1080p, 240 hertz, pretty sick. But it's not the native resolution, so you're dealing with interpolation, and there are already monitors that are actually designed to run at that resolution and that refresh rate. So then, let's get finally to good old-fashioned 4K 60 hertz, and then, okay. So we were expecting 4K 120 hertz here, but we got a visual demonstration of the limits of DisplayPort 1.2. It just can't push that much data. So instead, it has to compromise. Let's plug in a second DisplayPort cable. Well, that didn't happen in any of our testing before we go to film. You can see the right side of the screen is a little bit wonko, but we have still had, for the first time, the experience of 120 hertz gaming at 4K resolution. And given that we've got this game running at about 150 to 200 FPS, it is definitely a thing to behold. Now, is this the optimal situation with the whole thing going on with the flickering on the right-hand side of the screen and all that? Obviously not. But I guess we all learned a valuable lesson about shipping display controllers that literally have unstable penned onto the back of them. So in summary then, aside from this glitchiness right when we go to film, this works. But how do you buy one? The answer is you don't. Yet. And you may never be looking at a traditional finished monitor from ZisWorks. Their special sauce is in the development that they're doing on custom electronics, and the concept that they want to crowdfund is the idea of DIY enthusiasts being able to buy their module and slap it onto an existing panel, whether through a bundle from ZisWorks or off eBay or whatever. There will always be drawbacks to an approach like this. The calibration and display tuning that goes on with a finished product was clearly not present on our Innolux M280DJ-L30, and you won't get fancy features like G-Sync anytime soon. But ZisWorks has tested other options like a 39-inch MVA panel, and they say it works pretty similarly. And they're also expecting costs for DIY monitor solutions like this to be hundreds of dollars cheaper than 120 hertz 4K gaming monitors from traditional companies. So yay or nay? DIY mix and match monitors and electronics. Whatever you guys say down in the comments below, I know I'll be watching this concept really closely. Have you ever thought to yourself, if only there was some easy, affordable way to make my own website? Well, you're in luck, because Squarespace is just that. You pick one of their gorgeous templates, and whether you coach the local softball team, or you run a restaurant, or you want to promote your artistic portfolio, whatever it is you want to do, you just pick a template, you populate it with all the pictures and text you want, and boom, you've got a website that looks great on any device with responsive design and a ton of other great features. It starts at just $12 a month, and you get a free domain if you buy Squarespace for the year. And if you just want a super simple site, you can use their Cover Pages feature that lets you set up a beautiful one-page online presence in just minutes. So why wait? Why not sign up for Squarespace today? Start a trial with no credit card required, and when you decide to sign up for Squarespace permanently, head over to squarespace.com/LTT and use offer code LTT to get 10% off. So thanks for watching, guys. If you disliked this video, you can hit that button. But if you liked it, hit the like button, get subscribed, maybe consider checking out the products we featured at the link in the video description. Also down there, we've got our community forum, which you should totally join, as well as our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one. So the editing team here asked me for something very specific. They want the fastest machine that I can build for exporting videos. And they want it in the server room so that they can just remote into it and export their projects directly from Premiere instead of going from Premiere to Cineform and then having a separate machine take it to H.264. So I kind of went, okay, only one small problem. With Petabyte Project coming, space in our rack is at something of a premium. And if you want the fastest machine I can build, I want to overclock it. But I've only got 2 U's to do it. So what's the solution? Water cooling. TunnelBear is the simple VPN app that makes it easy to browse privately and enjoy a more open internet. To try TunnelBear for free, check out the link in the video description. So believe it or not, water cooling servers is actually a pretty common thing. But as with anything that we do around here, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So the right way to water cool a server is to buy a server, or usually server solution, that is designed to be water cooled. So typically that'll be servers that plug in with quick disconnect fittings to a cabinet or even an entire room or building that has giant heat dissipation units located on the outside. The wrong way to do it, as the regular viewers have probably already figured out, is the way that we're going to go about this, is to just grab an off-the-shelf server and jury-rig some liquid cooling into it. Come on out, you bastard. Okay. So let's meet our victim then, shall we? I actually threw this box together during our server maintenance weekend yesterday and the day before and the day before that. It was a long weekend. Just to make sure that it was all working before I went and water cooled it. So in here, we've got an Asus X99 Deluxe 2. We've got a Core i7-6950X Extreme Edition 10 core. We've got a Noctua cooler that's clearly gotta go. I mean, I love Noctua, but not gonna be suitable for that CPU. We've got 32 gigs of Corsair Dominator Platinum painted orange RAM. We've actually got a GTX 980 in here. That's about all we need for video acceleration. And then I wasn't sure what to do on the boot drive. I actually have a PCI Express SSD down there just to see if it was gonna work in that second slot. But I think we're gonna go with these 2 guys in RAID 1. Yes, I know they're refurbished. Yes, I know they're old, but it's RAID 1. It should be okay. So now I need some water cooling gear. Normally I would reach out to all the usual suspects and get them to send over some cool stuff, but this project was not planned out at all. So what I'm stuck with is just kind of going through the shelves here and seeing what I can find. Some of this is what I would have used anyway, like Primo Chill Advanced LRT tubing. I found some in red. But some of this stuff is a very random mishmash of what I had on the water cooling shelf. So here's a D5 pump with a top from EK that was from a previous project. Here's a Phobia reservoir that's just the smallest tube reservoir that I have on hand. Here's an old Alpha Cool Rad that I found. And finally, this is an interesting story. I take pride in completing the sponsored projects that I ask for hardware for. And over 2 years ago, I asked BitsPower for a very specific set of fittings for a water-cooled BitPhoenix Prodigy build. And I never delivered it for a number of reasons, and so I've just kind of shamefully looked at these every time I've gone through the fittings box, having not really any use for all these like 45s and right angles. It only had 2 straight fittings in it. But that all changes today, because I finally have a project that I can use them for. So stage 1 is to kind of tear everything out that I already had in there and have a look at the space we're working with. This was actually our old router case, and as you can see, there is a lot of wasted space for like 5¼ inch drive bays, these fans that are just kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere. We're still gonna need intake fans, but a lot of this space could be utilized for something else, but I still have some concerns. So we've got an EK Supremacy Evo block. I'm using the all metal version. We don't want to take any unnecessary risks with leaks, since this will actually be sitting above Petabyte Project. And I just wanted to make sure that it's actually going to fit into new height with our 90-degree fitting. So that's good. Then, same thing, metal caps for the end of our tube reservoir. I need to find somewhere to put that. Looks like it's going to be right about here. And then I need somewhere to put my radiator. And it looks like we've got a small clearance issue there, but nothing we can't resolve. So this is great. Everything came out really easily, giving us actually more space. What we're going to do is actually sub in a triple radiator where I had intended to use a dual radiator. Now, the mounting, though, is going to be a little bit tricky. We're actually going to raise it a little bit off the bottom of the case. Then we're going to have the fans blowing up this way, and we're going to have these 3 fans carrying the air through the case as a whole. Bear in mind, guys, this is a triple radiator, and we don't have enough room to cool the video card anyway, so it's only responsible for cooling the CPU. So there are a couple of things you're going to notice me doing about this build that would be a little bit different than normal. Number 1 is I'm going to be using everywhere that I can. So on the radiator, on the CPU block, and on the reservoir, actually, I'm going to be using vice grips to tighten up these knurled fittings like this, because I cannot risk a leak. And as long as we are screwing into metal, there's no danger other than to the finish on the knurled fittings. The other thing you're going to notice is that I'm going to be optimizing for the shortest possible tubing runs wherever I can, because no matter how good your tubing is, it will be slightly porous, and that's where water evaporates from a water cooling system. So I'm going to have as little of that exposed as possible. Now I'm getting really excited. I think I've finally got a pretty solid plan for how this is going to come together. I need some kind of riser for this reservoir to make sure that it is high enough that the pump's inlet is going to be easily fed by it. Then that conveniently gets me right up to the same level as this right angle coming off the radiator that will go back into the res. Very cool stuff. Then the CPU's easy. This tube looks like it's just gonna fit under the graphics card, and this one comes right over here, giving me a total of only about like 2 feet and change of exposed tubing. Mounting everything to the bottom of the case is extremely important, and needs to be very precise. If I screw up the placement just a little bit for the radiator, the pump, and the reservoir, they aren't all going to fit. The other thing that's going to be really tricky down here is the fact that this is a rack-mounted case. So I can't just have like the head of a screw sticking through here. It'll bump on the next one down. So what I've got are these sunken tight screws here, and the plan is to use what is not a proper bit for metal, but I only need a few holes out of it. But I'm gonna use one of these step style drill bits to see if I can create a countersunk hole as best as I can. Yes, I know it's not 100% the best way to do it, but come on, you're watching my detectives. We're gonna pre-drill a hole in the rad to tap into. Oh, went too far, hit the tube. Well, I'm not sure if I could be more pissed off right now. So the bad news is that we punctured the radiator and I don't have another one of the same. But the good news is that that hole that I was drilling, these screws thread in and kind of self-tap perfectly. Nice, solid connection. The plan would have worked perfectly if I had just put something back. I thought I could control it, but it slipped. So I have to fix this now, which means the best solution we have on hand is marine epoxy. Claims to bond brass, so I have mixed it thoroughly for 1 minute. I have actually done this before with JB Weld. That radiator continued to work for years, but I've never tried using epoxy, so here we go. This is how you can tell the difference in my videos between a problem and a problem. That will go there for a bit. Let's get the pump and res mounted. We now return to you live from problems Linus was expecting to have to solve. Okay, so when we try and close the lid, we're gonna see that there's a bit of a bulge, so to speak. I can't have even that little bit of play. It's only about this much. Fortunately, this mount for the pump has a little bit of unnecessary thickness at the bottom that I think we can just remove. Oh, we bought the sticky kind when we need the Velcro kind. No problem, this is just a finer grit than I had wanted to use. It'll just take a little bit longer. I should have just mounted the radiator with double-sided tape. Why did I screw through it? Anyway, cart before the horse, let's find out if it fits. Perfect. No bulge whatsoever. All right. We're bound to be successful at something. Not having a good day today. It's okay. I always pull it off. Always pull back before trying to insert. Yep, I am never too mad to make a dick joke. Maybe we should just call this video Problems Linus Could Solve Easily if he had enough time to wait around for a 3D print job. I need spacers. I need spacers for my screws. So I found this old acrylic CPU block hold down and I am cutting it up to get holes. These may be the jankiest spacers of all time. Oh, shoot. Just call this video Linus being grumpy for 20 minutes. So as long as everything stays in place exactly perfectly. Okay. Oh, shit. The radiator is in. Making real progress now. We're getting close. Here we are again. A 3D printed mount would be a perfect solution for our reservoir, but no time. So it came to me. Minecraft. Boom, brick. Boom, another brick. Oh, yes. Wait, is that too high? Ah, back to the drawing board. Damn Minecraft. We'll use this square hockey puck. Okay, not my straightest cut. Okay. We have a big problem. We are like done. It's time to power it up. And this is how set our epoxy is. Clearly, that's not enough, but possibly Fractal Design to the rescue. Fractal has removable fittings from the components of their AIO, but what I don't know yet is if they're using G1/4 threads. If they are, then I can just swap this radiator in. It is right. It's right. We have another rat. Love tap. Love tap. Now I'm having fun. Okay. Oh, could that have been any easier? Oh, yes. In there just fine. We've got our tubing run, all our fittings are tightened. So all that's left to do is throw in our network card, throw in our graphics card. Wait, what? Is this really gonna interfere with this? Oh, come on now. You vicious bastard. Okay, well, this computer doesn't get 10 gigabit networking. SSDs, and one. Tape it down, and a 2. Tape it on top of the other one. Power for the SSDs. One Molex connector over here. 24-pin power. Oh, we're close now, baby. We gotta make sure everything here is nice and flat, because this graphics card does not have a lot of clearance here. Okay, that is a primo rat's nest right there. Moment of truth. Okay, so this is it. It's finally done. The pump was dead to replace that. Anyway, the project is a success. So our hottest core, after about 20 minutes of sitting running small FFTs in IDA64, is 60 degrees, which is pretty darn impressive given how low profile this sucker is. What a project. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you disliked this video, do that. If you liked it, though, hit the like button, get subscribed. Maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured at the link in the video description. Also down there is our merch store and our community forum, which you should join. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next. So click the video and go watch another one of our videos. I can't guarantee they'll be as epic as this one, but they'll be good. Camera view. Ha-ha! You never know what kinds of things are going to go wrong when you're doing it live. Like, for example, starting a stream and then stopping it almost immediately because you left the cursor on the start streaming button and you didn't realize that you accidentally clicked the mouse again shortly afterwards. So we are... Oh, this is only the second time we've ever done a live build on Linus Tech Tips. But we are definitely getting our live shenanigans money's worth out of them. Speaking of getting your money's worth, LG sponsored this video. They're having us build what they're calling the HiveMind PC. So most of the components in front of me were actually selected by a group of our viewers. So they got to vote for what they thought were the best choices. So we're gonna go through and show you guys what exactly the community thought was a good idea to put in our system. So first up, we've got our case. This is the NZXT H500i mid-tower. There goes my water bottle. There we go. Then the community didn't actually pick the power supply. I think we just advised LG and what we thought was a good power supply, because you don't want to end up with the wrong power supply for a build, like something that doesn't have enough power or doesn't have the right connectors or whatever. So the whole concept of having the community choose the individual components won't work if you end up with an incompatible computer. With that said, the community did go ahead and pick the Core i7-8700K for us. Great choice, 6-core processors, fastest thing on the planet right now for gaming. Drives, let's see. We've got a WD Blue 500 gig M.2 solid state drive for boot. Then we've got a Seagate Barracuda. Oh, it's a 4 terabyte Barracuda Pro. All right, not bad. Another thing the community voted on was the graphics card, and once again, the community did a good job picking the most expensive thing. Good job, community. Can't go wrong when you just pick the best graphics card for like the amount of money that you have to spend. So we've got an MSI Armor GTX 1080 Ti. We're going to be equipping this thing with, I'm finding all of this out for the first time, by the way, 16 gigs of DDR4 dual channel memory. We're going to be using an ASUS ROG Strix Z370E gaming motherboard, and this was another community vote, we're going to be cooling it with the Master Liquid ML240R RGB. So for all the haters out there that are like, ugh, RGB sucks, no one likes it, the truth of the matter is that people do like it. Given the choice, people will take the RGB one over something else. And of course, the centerpiece for the whole thing is the LG ultra-wide 38WK95C. So this is a gigantic 38-inch ultra-wide monitor. Let's run through some of the specs for this thing. It's got a 21:9 aspect ratio, so it's got a higher resolution than the ultra-wides that initially launched back when ultra-wide was sort of first becoming a thing a couple of years ago. So it's like kind of ultra-wide 4K. So it's 3840 by 1600 instead of 3440 by 1440. It uses an IPS panel. It's curved. And a monitor that sits right on the desk in front of you is one of the situations where a curved display, I personally find, does feel pretty nice. It's got HDR10, so it can accept an HDR10 input signal. It covers 99% of the sRGB color space. It's got USB Type-C. It's got a 3-sided borderless super slim bezels. And of course, it's, whoop, got this, it's okay. It is large and in charge. Let's go ahead and take these components out of here. Maybe we'll assemble this first. What do you think, Brendan? Should we assemble this first, and then we can put it aside while we build the computer? All right. Yep. Oh, it's heavy. Okay. Okay. Got this. Okay. No, I got it. No problem. No problem. All right, let's get that box out. Ooh, laptop's about to go. Nope, laptop's not gonna go. Back on the table. Ha! Yes! Got this. See, we're not gonna have any more difficulties stemming from, technical problems or me dropping anything or anything like that for the rest of this stream. Who's that at the door? Hubris? Why, come on in, Hubris. It's good to see you, old friend. All right. See, this is the kind of stuff we normally don't make you guys sit through, but honestly, so many people loved the last live build that we did that we thought, when LG came to us and they were like, hey, we want to do another one of these live builds. I was like, yeah, sure. Heck yeah, why not? You guys are getting the full experience. Nothing removed. So if you guys wanted to go out and build the exact machine that we have, you could literally throw this video on in the background and sit there and build it, because we're going to go through absolutely everything, even the process for screwing in the base of the monitor stand. Bippity boppity done. So it's a metal piece here and then a plastic piece here. Interesting. Monitor there. These accessories we won't need until we hook up the computer later, so we're just gonna put these somewhere where Brandon is unlikely to trip over them. I'm gonna go ahead, put our stand there. Monitors have gotten a lot easier to assemble over the years. I still remember when they didn't have like self-retaining screws with the little wires on them, and you had to kind of put a bunch of screws into the base, and then you had to put a bunch of screws between the base and the monitor itself. I don't know how I'm going to show you guys this mounting process. Oh, I know how to do it. I'm going to do it over here. So basically the way that it goes on, you're going to want to get a side view angle here. Here we go. Lift that over there. Kind of align it from the top, and there you go. There's your height adjust. There you go. There's your tilt. No pivot. You just rotate the base, I guess. Or did I say pivot? I just roll. All right. So the monitor's in place. What else? MSRP $14.99. Oh, and I'm supposed to talk about the tilt and height adjust, but I already did that. Fan-freaking-tastic. All right, now let's build a computer so we can power this thing. So the idea was to have sort of a hybrid workstation slash gaming machine. And that has become a surprisingly easy thing to do now that Intel has finally moved up the core counts on their mainstream processors with the LGA 1150, whatever platform that is that we're on now. I really wish they would 1151. So it went 1156, 1155, 1150, 1151. So there's no like pattern that you can find to it. So now that they've got 6 cores available on this platform, it's really easy to build something that's great for gaming, but can also handle like a render here and there or some video editing on the side if you need to do it. So in terms of stuff that we're going to need out of the motherboard box, we're going to grab our I/O shield. So we're going to install that in the case later. We're going to need a couple of solar cables, one for our hard drive, and then one actually for a test SSD that I'm going to use, because I think you guys don't want to just sit here and watch me install Windows for an hour. And then other than that, there's like some temp probes and stuff, but I don't really bother with this kind of stuff. SLI bridge, I also generally don't bother with anymore. I mean, ever since that last season of Scrapyard Wars, like SLI betrayed me. SLI let me down. So I've been off the SLI bandwagon for a little while. Brandon, you can take a short rest there if you want. I'm gonna switch over to the wide for just a couple seconds here. Do you want me to indicate to you in some way when you're live? Okay, so why don't I just do this like right in front of you then, so you can see? Is that helpful? All right, actually I lied. I need to do it anyway. So come over and have a look. We're going to do our CPU installation. So I always recommend using the motherboard box as a test bench, but not necessarily using the anti-static bag. You might think if the motherboard comes inside it, then you should put it on it. But actually the outside of some of these bags can have conductive material. That's part of what makes them ESP safe. And if there's, for whatever reason, a charge in one of the capacitors on the board, and you bridge those contacts, you can actually cause a short. So not all ESD bags do. I know I've taken a lot of flack from people saying, well, actually, I'm actually minus. Some of them do. I don't know if this one does. So if I was going to give you guys the general rule that works for everything, that is, put it on something definitely non-conductive, which a cardboard box is definitely non-conductive. I don't know. It is amazing to me how much time Intel seems to spend re-engineering these cardboard holders for their chips. So now there's a little pull tab here for your fingers or whatever.